Smash the like button if you're watching this video right now, okay, for Quinn Hughes. Beggsy, talk about it, man. Toronto Maple Leafs, a defenseman, trade rumors, what? Helping Quinn Hughes out, what?
Yeah, well, we'll see about helping Quinn Hughes. I'm thinking it maybe help the puck moving ability of the back end. Look, Eric Branson made his debut last night, and I think there were some ups and downs in his game. But the one thing I noticed is that he might move the puck better than anyone else not on that top pairing, and I don't think that's really a stretch to say that. To be honest, he had some good plays last night in terms of getting the puck up the ice. But again, this is a guy who can get pushed around in his own end a bit, can be a bit turnover prone. Did see his minutes. Him and Desharnais, I think, ended up with like 11 or 12 minutes each at even strength. Soucy and Myers, despite not being paired together at the start of the game, again, it was kind of like what I alluded to yesterday. The Canucks really went with the top four and the bottom two, with Brandstrom and Desharnais at the bottom. And look, there's some trepidation and some question marks on this defense, right? Tyler Myers is playing through some stuff. Carson Soucy had a tough game last night. It does make you think that can this Canucks team and should this Canucks team add another defenseman? We all know the answer is yes. Now, could that guy be Timothy Liljegren? Now, this is a fascinating name to me because Timothy Liljegren, 25 years old, 2 years left on the deal, paying him $3 million a season. He's been a healthy scratch for 3 of Toronto's 4 games so far. And Toronto's in a situation right now where they are literally in cap hell. They're pretty much capped out right now, and they have 4 guys on LTIR that they're hoping to bring back into the lineup. So, Yanni Hakanpää, Dakota Murmurs are 2 defensemen on LTIR. They also have Kelly Yarncroke and Connor Dewar on LTIR. They got over $5 million of LTIR players. So once those guys are healthy, the Leafs are going to have to make some tough decisions. And the fact that Liljegren has been a healthy scratch in 3 of the first 4 games over a guy who we actually mentioned before as a potential maybe waiver wire target in Connor Timmins, it does seem like he might be on the way out in Toronto. So with the Vancouver Canucks, I mean, I'm intrigued by this fit, man. I'm not going to lie. In terms of pairing him with one of the big defenders in Soucy or Forward. And let's bring up the good old player card here from our friend over at JFresh for those on the YouTube side. And for those on the podcast side, look, this guy is his projected WAR, wins above replacement, is in the 81st percentile. Touted as a second pair defenseman. He's got good metrics in terms of his even strength offense, his even strength defense, not bad finishing. I mean, this guy has averaged in a bottom pairing role, 30 points per 82 games, right? And he's not like he's terrible defensively either. He seems to get cut out of the Leafs lineup because he's not very physical, right? And now you got a coach, Craig Berube, who does love his big bodies and big defensemen. I mean, much like this coaching staff here, but in Vancouver, you have the big defensemen, right? You have Soucy, you have Myers, you have Fulbert, you have Desharnais. I think it doesn't hurt. I think Liljegren, to me, is probably a better version of Eric Branson, and he plays the right side. And I think this is a guy you can have on the cheap. So if you're trading for him, I think you could, maybe even trade a guy back like a Fulbert or a Desharnais to Toronto. Again, they love their big bodies on defense. And then maybe there's like a mid-round pick as well, something like that. But Kyle, are you intrigued with the idea of acquiring Timothy Liljegren, or is this something the Canucks should steer away from?
I think if the cost is low, why not? Because there has to be an improvement there. Like something's got to give. What do they call the defensemen? The bottom 3 defensemen in Vancouver, like the trunks or like the tree stumps or whatever. All in all, like it's again, I don't know if Brandstrom's the answer, but the pace in which he plays at / his ability to just make again a first pass is so critical to the next evolution of the Vancouver Canucks. And I'm afraid that if the Canucks don't not necessarily find a replacement for Brandstrom, but prioritize puck moving this season, the Canucks are not going to go anywhere. They're going to go anywhere different than they did last year. Straight up. For the Canucks to reach their potential, they need to again lean into a bit more transition and lean into Miller, Pettersson, etc. And it's a missing piece. And it's funny how having Brandstrom play 13 minutes helped us play a little bit different. I mean, that was the best Canucks game of all of the season so far. And I know Brandstrom played 13 minutes or 11 minutes, but don't fool yourself. He had something to do with it. Because it's all in the DNA of the game. Again, the pace was different. When you have like just trunks back there and just dumping the puck out, you're not playing with swagger. You're not playing again with transition. You're playing looking for a mistake, instead of trying to force the issue. All in all, can Lindgren be this guy? I wonder if again, Tocchet and Berube are like homies. They talk a lot. Straight up. I wonder if I mean, now they're in the league. Now Brube's in the league at the same time. I wonder if like competitive advantage blocks some of their communication or some of their friendship and some of their honesty. But like, like, what if Brube calls talking and is like, "Oh, I heard there's an offer on the table and we can get Vincent Desharnais, a dude who went to the Stanley Cup Finals for the Oilers for this lingering guy." Or what do you have to say about Vinny Desharnais? It's like, dude, Vinny Desharnais is worth a 7th round pick. He's still getting, he's a waiver guy. It's the truth, man. People think I'm being mean. People think I'm being an asshole when I say things like that, but I feel like there's no trade value in that guy.
Unless you got a team like the Toronto Maple Leafs who likes their big boys on defense and wants to get some cap relief, right?
Okay, bro. They play what division? The division of hell, right? The division of hell, the hardest division of all of sports. Bro, there's no way. There's no way, unless they're stupid, that they're going out of their way to bolster their defense with Vincent Desharnais. Just the truth. The Canucks are the only team in hockey. We like to give Alvin all this credit, Talkett all this credit, Foot all this credit. I'm telling you, they're the only team in all of the NHL that would sign Vincent Desharnais to that contract. And I think they only did that because they think there's a project there and they think they can help him reach his potential. But no other team in the league is giving away an asset to take on $2 million of Vincent Desharnais. That is just the truth.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure about that because I think one team that would do it would be the Toronto Maple Leafs. Look, you got a GM in Brad Treliving who has consistently targeted the big tough guys, right? You know, he goes out and gets, Ryan Reeves and all that stuff on defense. Yanni Hakkapaa is another big, slow defenseman. I honestly think the Toronto Maple Leafs, there could be a world where, again, they take on a guy like Vinny Desharnais, but that's not really the point, right? I think the point is, what would they get for Timothy Liljegren? And I think, you read around the league in terms of what other insiders and other pundits are saying, and it's like you could probably get Liljegren on the cheap because he's kind of on the outside looking in Toronto, and because of the cap at $3 million, because they are in cap hell right now. So
True.
I don't know. I'm really interested in Liljegren potentially coming to Vancouver. And look, Carson Soucy was a bet they made in terms of you give him a middle of the road contract and hope he can play in a second pairing role. And I think so far they've been rewarded for that bet, although they're still, early days here. Liljegren's another example of a guy who got that, 2x3 contract with the hope that he could maybe play second pair minutes, and did play second pair minutes for a lot of last year. I mean, to me, I do think there is some upside in the potential Soucy-Liljegren pairing. You got better puck moving ability, better skating ability than like Soucy Myers or Soucy Desharnais or any of that stuff, right? So, again, I'm intrigued by Liljegren potentially coming to Vancouver because I don't think he's going to cost a lot. And I think the Leafs are going to give him up for cheap because of the cap situation.